What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the show. Welcome back to another episode of Seahawks Now, your home for all things daily Seattle Seahawks news, updates, and rumors. Today we tackle a very interesting question. Is Seattle Seahawks quarterback Sam Darnold already being counted out? It's something that I wish he didn't have to deal with, but Sam Darnold, apparently there's already people who think that he could be leapfrogged by Jalen Milroe and lose his starting spot. Plus, did we make the right call? I mean, with the latest Aaron Rodgers news, obviously he is going to the Steelers. Did the Seahawks make the right call choosing Sam Darnold over Rodgers? And finally, the Seahawks had perfect OTA attendance in 2025. We discussed what that means for the team. But let's begin with the Sam Darnold piece. The article that I saw basically said, here's the path for how Jalen Milroe can overthrow Sam Darnold in 2025. There's another article from Bleacher Report last week, 5 NFL quarterbacks who could be benched in 2025. Let's actually start with that one because the picture on the article was Sam Darnold, who was also the first guy they wrote about. According to Bleacher Report's Alex K., he writes, the Seattle Seahawks made perhaps the biggest splash of any team in free agency when they signed Sam Darnold to his 3-year deal worth just over $100 million. Despite this hefty commitment, his tenure in the Pacific Northwest could be a brief one. He obviously goes on to say that while he did have a great season last year with the Vikings, his previous stops in Carolina and with the New York Jets did not go as well as anyone would have hoped. The USC product's 2 worst performances last year were in Week 18, which was obviously for the division, and then the next week in the wild card round, he got blown out by the Los Angeles Rams. And now with Jalen Milroe, the 3rd-round pick, who is, according to this article, competition. Again, I don't think that necessarily they are in a competition, but, maybe as Milroe improves. Personally, I don't think Milroe is there yet as a passer. I don't think he's ready to start in the NFL. But here's what they write. They say, quote, the number 92 overall pick was the 4th quarterback off the board and is one of the more uniquely talented prospects to enter the league in years. The dual threat weapon is considered a developmental project due to his lackluster arm, but Milroe could provide an instant edge to Seattle's offense if it is struggling under Darnold. Due to the way Darnold's contract is structured, the team has a reasonable way out as early as next offseason. With the finances moving on from him workable and Milroe waiting in the wings, it wouldn't be a shock if Darnold winds up riding the pine should his tenure with the Seahawks get off on the wrong foot. An interesting article for sure. Personally, I disagree. I think Sam Darnold is underrated right now. I think a lot of people are kind of in this mindset that he's not going to be able to replicate what he did in 2024. And while I obviously don't think that he's going to throw for 35 touchdowns and only 12 interceptions, I obviously don't think he's going to win 14 games. But can he throw 30 touchdowns and 15 interceptions? And can he throw for 3,800 yards? And can he win 11 games instead of 14? Yes, I think that's absolutely in the picture. I don't know if he's ever going to get back to his peak, but we've now seen him have significant success at the NFL level. And considering, again, the Seahawks do not have that hard of a schedule. I know it does get a little bit hard towards the middle of the season when we have to play a lot of those tougher teams kind of in the middle portion of the year. We got to play the Rams, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a couple other tough teams in there. But for the most part, the Seahawks actually don't have a very hard schedule. It gets really light in November and December. We get to play the Titans, the Colts, the Panthers, the Falcons. Arizona's not very strong. Who knows if the Saints will be any good this year. They got a really interesting quarterback situation. The Colts, not sure about. The Jaguars, not sure about them. Even Houston, who I think probably will beat us, but I don't know that for a fact. I mean, Houston, they kind of had an interesting year last year too. So the Seahawks do not have that difficult of a schedule. And you combine it with the fact that Darnold is coming off a really great season. I just don't think he's going to regress that much that he gets benched in his first year here. A lot of people might disagree. Personally, I think he's underrated, and I think he's going to prove a lot of people wrong this season. All right, let's move on, guys. Did the Seahawks make the right call, Darnold over Rodgers? So Aaron Rodgers officially this weekend, it broke out that he is not retiring. He is going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers starting quarterback in 2025. It's a $13 million deal. So that's really what I want to discuss. It's more about because of the contract. Because obviously, I think if you said straight up for the same price, Darnold for $33 million or Rodgers for $33 million, I think every single person is going to choose Sam Darnold in that scenario because Sam Darnold is coming off a better season. He's younger. He's more mobile at this point in his career. I think he has a better arm actually at this point in his career. And Aaron just brings a lot of unnecessary drama to the team that it doesn't feel necessary. It doesn't feel conducive to winning. I'll put it that way. And again, if you said Darnold for 13 or Aaron Rodgers for 13 million, again, it's a no-brainer. You go with Sam Darnold. I think everybody would make that decision. I don't think anybody's trying to argue that Aaron Rodgers at this point in their careers is a better NFL starting quarterback than Sam Darnold. The question really comes down to the contract terms because Aaron Rodgers is getting paid $20 million less than Sam Darnold, right? A-Rod has a $13 million contract. Darnold is getting paid $33 million for next year. So my real question is, look, just over a 1-year span, is a 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers at $13 million a better deal than a 28-year-old Sam Darnold for $33 million? It's a $20 million gap. Darnold is getting paid significantly more. However, Darnold is also 14 years younger, and he's coming off the best year of his career. Aaron Rodgers coming off one of the worst years of his career, and also with the drama. So that's the real question is, when you take the contract into consideration, did the Seahawks make the right call? I think statistically it's super close. Because while I do think that Darnold is better than Rodgers, I don't think he's that much better than Rodgers. I don't think Sam Darnold is $20 million better of a quarterback than Aaron Rodgers. Now, to be fair, the Steelers certainly managed to get away with signing him to something that is below. I mean, even $13 million, that was below his market value. His market value probably more like $25 million, maybe more like $23 million. It's not $13 million. He definitely took a low ball contract, and maybe it's just because he's trying to prove that, yeah, I still want to play, and I want to play. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to help this team win. If so, kind of a new thing for Rodgers. Maybe he's finally turned a new page, a new leaf, a new chapter in his book is being written. But yeah, it does feel like Darnold probably is not $20 million better than Aaron Rodgers. At the same time, I still think the Seahawks did make the right decision, and here's why. Aaron Rodgers just seems to bring drama with him everywhere he goes. I mean, the last 2 years with the Jets, even when he wasn't playing, he brought drama to the New York Football Jets. It all had to do with his way. He wanted to do things his way. He wanted to run the offense his way. He wanted the coaching staff built his way. He made them bring in his offensive coordinator who, I mean, we all know how Nathaniel Hackett did in Denver, and he didn't do much better in New York. More like his buddy than his favorite coach. They made him bring in his receivers. Alan Lazard had to come in. They had to bring in a lot of his friends, his guys. I mean, it just felt like Aaron took over the organization. When things got out of control, he got rid of Robert Saleh. Allegedly, we don't know that for a fact. A lot of people believe that Aaron Rodgers was behind the Robert Saleh firing. A lot of people believe that he's the reason why the Jets moved on from Zach Wilson as a backup and instead brought in his friend Tim Boyle to be their backup, which, again, you can debate whether Zach Wilson was worth keeping around. Maybe he wasn't, but Tim Boyle was certainly not. I mean, Tim Boyle was terrible and has never really been all that good, so it's always been kind of baffling that he just gets to play for whatever team Rodgers plays for as their backup. Meanwhile, Zach Wilson, again, was he ever going to amount to something? Maybe not, but if you're the Jets, would you rather have Zach Wilson as a project learning from Aaron Rodgers, and maybe there's something there in the future, or would you rather not? I mean, he's still a somewhat talented quarterback. He was the number 2 overall pick. Ultimately, I do agree, for those reasons, the Seahawks did make the right call, choosing Sam Darnold over Aaron Rodgers. Finally, one last thing to talk about today. The Seahawks had perfect OTA attendance in 2025. just very quickly, guys, that's a really good sign. I mean, obviously, this happens to a lot of teams, but there's also a lot of teams that don't get perfect attendance for whatever reason. Certain players holding out, certain players who are maybe faking an injury or nursing an injury for a little extra time to get a little extra days off. Veterans who just decide they don't need to come. There's always a few players, it feels like, who are not at OTAs. It's really glad to see that the Seahawks did not have that this season. It feels like they're a very united team right now, and I'm really loving the vibes. I'm really loving the mindset right now that the Seahawks are in. It feels like they're united. It feels like they are together. It feels like they're playing really well right now as a team, and I would love to see that continue. I think it can continue. But honestly, right now, I'm really excited about where the Seahawks are going in 2025. I think the direction is really sound. I think Mike McDonald's doing a great job. So for that reason, I am very happy. But with that being said, that's going to wrap things up for today's video. If you like what you see, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. It really helps out the channel. And until next time, as always, go Seahawks.